October 1962, Brookings Airport, Oregon, USA. Nobuo Fujita stood in the airport. In his hands, a suitcase. Inside the suitcase, a samurai sword. 400 years old, 6 generations of his family, the most valuable thing he owned. The sword wasn't a gift. The sword was for seppuku, ritual suicide. Fujita was 51 years old. 20 years ago, he bombed this city, dropped 4 incendiary bombs on American forests, tried to cause massive fires, kill American citizens, spread panic across the western coast of the United States. Now, Americans invited him back, wrote a letter. "Come visit, be our honored guest." Fujita didn't believe it. This was a trap, had to be a trap. Americans wanted to arrest him, try him as a war criminal, lock him in prison for life. So he brought the sword. If Americans tried to arrest him, he'd commit seppuku right here, in the airport, die with honor, like a samurai. He walked out of arrivals, expected police, handcuffs, a convoy. Instead, he saw a crowd, hundreds of people, holding flags, American flags, Japanese flags, smiling, waving, applauding. Children ran toward him. "Mr. Fujita, can we have your autograph?" Fujita froze, didn't understand. These people should hate him. He bombed their city 20 years ago. He was the enemy. The mayor approached, extended his hand. "Welcome to Brookings, Mr. Fujita. We're very glad you came." Fujita began to cry. 20 years of guilt, 20 years of nightmares, 20 years thinking Americans wanted his blood. All of it was wrong. Americans forgave him, invited him as a friend, welcomed him as a hero. This is the story of how enemies become friends, how guilt transforms into redemption, how a sword meant for death becomes a symbol of peace. This is the story of the only man in history who bombed the continental United States twice, and how he came back to apologize. September 1942, the mission that shouldn't work, Pacific Ocean, 50 miles west of the Oregon coast. September 9th, 1942, 5:30. Japanese submarine I-25 surfaced. Lieutenant Commander Meiji Tagami gave the order. "Prepare the aircraft." Crew rushed onto deck, opened the hangar. Inside, a small float plane, Yokosuka E-14Y, Allied nickname, Glenn. 2-seater, reconnaissance, not a bomber. Folding wings, folding tail, designed to fit inside a submarine. Crew assembled the aircraft on deck. 20 minutes of work, wings unfolded, tail unfolded, floats attached. Nobuo Fujita watched the aircraft. He was 31 years old, experienced naval pilot, over 1,000 flight hours, participated in reconnaissance missions over Pearl Harbor before the attack, over Sydney, over Wellington, but never bombed ground targets. His aircraft was a scout, had no bombing equipment until today. On deck lay 2 bombs, 76 kilograms each, incendiary, napalm, designed to create forest fires. The mission was simple: take off from the sub, fly to shore, find Oregon forests, drop bombs, cause massive forest fires, divert American resources, spread panic. Theoretically, the mission was genius. Practically, it was insane. The aircraft was too small, could carry only 2 bombs, range limited, 90 kilometers. If he didn't find the sub on return, he'd die in the ocean. American air defense on the West Coast was strong. Fighters, radar, anti-aircraft guns. If detected, he'd be shot down. But orders are orders. Fujita climbed into the cockpit. His observer, Petty Officer Shoji Okuda, sat behind. 2 men, 1 small aircraft, 2 bombs. A mission that shouldn't work. 05:45, catapult. Aircraft launched from submarine deck. Engine screamed. Aircraft climbed, turned east, toward America. Fujita flew low, 50 meters above ocean, avoiding radar. Fog helped. Visibility poor, good for stealth, bad for navigation. 06, he saw shore, America, continental United States, forests, mountains. No fighters, no anti-aircraft fire. Americans didn't expect a Japanese aircraft over Oregon. Why would they? Japan was 8,000 kilometers away. Japanese bombers couldn't reach America, impossible, but they didn't know about submarines with aircraft. Fujita climbed 1,500 meters, found forest, dense, dry, perfect for fire, or so he thought. He dropped the first bomb, then the second, saw explosions below, smoke, flame, turned around, flew back to ocean. Behind him in the forest, fire began to spread, but not as planned. Howard Raz Gardner sat in a fire lookout tower on Mount Emily. His job, watch the forest, spot fires. Early morning he saw an aircraft. Strange aircraft, not American, flying low. Then saw smoke, 2 columns of smoke, 9 miles northeast of Brookings. Raz called dispatch. We have a fire, 2 locations, possible aircraft drop. Dispatch sent firefighters. Keith V. Johnson from Bear Wallow Tower. Raz himself on foot to the fire site. They arrived an hour later, found bomb craters, fragments, Japanese markings. But the fire was small, few trees burning, ground was wet, rain the previous day, fire wasn't spreading. Johnson and Gardner extinguished the fire in several hours. No damage, no casualties, no panic. Fujita returned to the submarine, landed, crew hoisted aircraft aboard, disassembled, hid in hangar. Commander Tagami asked, mission accomplished? Fujita, yes sir. Both bombs dropped, saw explosions, fire started. Tagami was pleased, sent report to Tokyo. First bombing of continental United States successful. Forest fires initiated. But it wasn't true. No forest fires, only a few charred trees. Americans extinguished the fire before dawn. FBI began investigation, found bomb fragments, Japanese markings confirmed. Lieutenant General John L. DeWitt announced publicly, we're investigating incident with Japanese bomb found in forest near Mount Emily. American press wrote about the bombing, but government downplayed it, didn't want to show Japanese could reach mainland, didn't want to spread panic. September 29, 1942, Fujita made a second mission, again took off from I-25. Again flew to Oregon, again dropped 2 bombs. Result was worse. Weather was rainy, forests wet, bombs fell, exploded, no fire. Fujita became the only person in history to bomb the continental United States twice, but both missions failed. No fires, no casualties, no damage worth more than a few dollars. Japanese command acknowledged failure, stopped sending aircraft to bomb America. Too risky, too little effect. For Fujita, the war continued. He kept flying, reconnaissance missions, patrol, survived until war's end. But the Oregon bombing haunted him. Every night, every day, he tried to kill Americans, burn their homes, destroy their forests. Mission failed, but intention was real. 1945-1962, 20 years of guilt. August 15, 1945, Japan surrendered. War ended. Fujita returned home, alive. Many of his comrades died. He survived. But survival didn't mean peace. Fujita returned to civilian life, became a hardware salesman, metal goods, tools, nails, bolts, boring job, safe job, peaceful job, married, had children, lived in a small house in Ibaraki, went to work every day, came home every evening, normal life. But at night came nightmares. He saw Oregon forests, burning, people running, children screaming, houses ablaze, all because of his bombs. He woke in cold sweat. Wife asked, what happened? He couldn't explain. How do you explain that you tried to kill innocent people? That you were the enemy? That you're guilty? During day, he sold nails, smiled at customers, pretended to be normal, but inside, he knew the truth. He was a war criminal. He bombed America twice. Americans knew his name, knew what he did. One day they'd come for him. He waited months, years, waited for arrest, waited for trial, waited for punishment. Punishment didn't come. Americans were silent. This was worse. Silence was torture. Uncertainty was hell. He didn't know if they'd come for him, didn't know when, didn't know how. He lived in constant fear. Every knock on door could be police. Every letter could be court summons. Every stranger could be American agent. His children didn't know. He never told them about the war, about bombs, about mission. They thought he was ordinary soldier, nothing special. Only his wife knew the truth. He told her once, at night, after another nightmare, "I bombed America twice, tried to kill people, burn their forests. I'm guilty." Wife hugged him. "It was war. You followed orders. That's no excuse. I carried the bombs. I pressed the button. I'm guilty." 17 years passed. 1945, 1962. 17 years of guilt. 17 years of nightmares. 17 years waiting for punishment. Then came the letter from Brookings Spring. Fujita was 51. He worked at store, sold bolts. Ordinary day, came home. Wife met him at door, in her hands, envelope, foreign stamp, American stamp. "Letter for you, from America." Fujita froze. This was it. Summons, arrest warrant, court invitation. 20 years of waiting ended. He opened envelope, trembling hands. Read. Letter was from Mayor of Brookings, Oregon, city he bombed 20 years ago. "Dear Mr. Fujita, City of Brookings invites you to visit us as honored guest at our annual Azalea Festival. We would like to meet you, hear your story, show you our hospitality, respectfully." Fujita read letter 3 times. Didn't understand. Honored guest? Hospitality? Made no sense. He bombed this city, tried to burn it, kill its people. Why would they invite him as guest? Trap. Must be trap. He showed letter to wife. "What do you think?" Wife read. "Don't go. It's dangerous. They want to arrest you." Fujita thought all night. Didn't sleep. Considered. Morning he made decision. "I'll go." "Why? It's a trap." "Maybe, but I must go. I bombed their city. I must face consequences, must accept punishment if it comes." Fujita contacted Japanese government, explained situation, asked for advice. Government was cautious, contacted American government, requested guarantees. "If Mr. Fujita visits Brookings, will he be arrested as war criminal?" Americans replied, "No, he will not be arrested. This is friendly invitation. City wants to show reconciliation." Japanese government passed guarantees to Fujita. Safe to go. Americans promise. But Fujita didn't believe. Promises are words. Words can be broken. He went to his father, old man, 80 years, veteran of Russo-Japanese War, 1905. "Father, I need the family sword." Father knew which sword. Katana. 400 years, 6 generations, passed from father to eldest son, most valuable family possession. "Why do you need sword?" "I'm going to America, to people I tried to kill. If they try to arrest me, I'll commit seppuku, die with honor." Father was silent long time, then retrieved sword, extended to Fujita. "If you must die, die like samurai." October 1962, return to crime scene. Fujita flew to America, flight from Tokyo through Hawaii to San Francisco, then small plane to Brookings. In suitcase, sword, wrapped in silk, hidden under clothes. Customs didn't check, didn't know what he carried. On plane, he held sword on lap. Through layer of fabric, felt cold steel. If Americans tried to arrest him, he'd do it quickly. Draw sword, plunge into abdomen, cut horizontally, classic seppuku. Death would take minutes, painful death, but honorable death. Plane landed, Brookings, small airport, 1 runway. Fujita exited plane, held suitcase, ready to open, ready to draw sword. Saw crowd, hundreds of people. At airport gates, police, soldiers. No, ordinary people, families, children, elderly. They waved flags, American, Japanese, smiled, applauded. Fujita stopped, didn't understand. Children broke through gates, ran toward him. Mr. Fujita, can we have autograph?" One boy, maybe 10 years. "You really bombed our city? Is it true? Tell us." Girl, about 8 years. "My grandfather was in war. He fought Japanese, but he said war's over, now we're friends. Fujita couldn't speak. Tears streamed down face. These children should hate him. He tried to kill their parents, their grandparents, burn their city. Instead, they asked for autographs, looked at him with admiration, like hero. Mayor approached. Elderly man, gray hair, kind smile, extended hand. Welcome to Brookings, Mr. Fujita. I'm Mayor Joel Lewis. We're very glad you came. Very glad you accepted our invitation. Fujita shook hand, trembling hand. I don't understand. I bombed your city. I was enemy. Why you... Mayor smiled. It was war, Mr. Fujita. You followed orders. We followed orders. War ended 20 years ago. Now we're not enemies. Now we're friends. But I tried to kill people. Burn your forests. You killed no one. Your bombs hit wet forest, created small fire. We extinguished it in few hours. No damage, no casualties, only history. Fujita cried openly. 20 years of guilt, 20 years of nightmares, 20 years thinking Americans wanted to punish him. All of it was in his head. Americans forgave him long ago. They invited him not for trial, for friendship. Mayor continued. We want you to know, we hold no grudge. You were soldier, did your duty. We respect that. We invite you as honored guest. We'll show our city, show forest where your bombs fell, show everything is fine. Fujita lowered suitcase, sword inside, sword he brought for death. Now useless, because no need for death, need life, need friendship, peace ceremony. City held festival, azalea festival, annual event, celebration of flowers, music, food, people. Fujita was honored guest, sat on platform, next to mayor. Thousands of people watched. Mayor stood, began speech. 20 years ago, our city was attacked. Japanese pilot dropped bombs on our forests. We could hate this pilot, could hold grudge, could demand revenge. Crowd was silent, but we chose different path of forgiveness, path of friendship, because war is not eternal. Enemies don't remain enemies forever. If we hold grudge, grudge holds us. Applause. Today we welcome Mr. Nobuo Fujita, man who bombed our city, not as enemy, as friend, as honored guest, as symbol that past can be forgiven, future can be built together. Mayor turned to Fujita. Mr. Fujita, on behalf of Brookings, I present you honorary citizenship. You're now one of us. Welcome home. Fujita stood, couldn't speak, too many emotions. He cried. Crowd applauded. He finally spoke, quiet voice, in Japanese. Translator translated. 20 years I lived with guilt. Thought you hated me. Thought I deserved punishment. Thought I could never atone for what I did. He retrieved suitcase, opened, took out sword, wrapped in silk, unwrapped. Katana gleamed in sunlight. Crowd gasped. Sword was beautiful, ancient, precious. I brought this sword ready to die. Thought you'd want to punish me. Thought I'd commit seppuku if you tried to arrest me. But you showed me kindness, showed forgiveness. He extended sword to Mayor. This sword belonged to my family 400 years, 6 generations, most valuable thing I have. I give it to your city as sign of peace, as sign of friendship, as sign that enemies can become friends, that past can be forgiven. Mayor took sword, held it with both hands, with respect. We accept this gift. We'll preserve it. We'll show our children. We'll show our grandchildren. As symbol that peace is possible, that forgiveness is possible, that friendship is stronger than war. Crowd applauded standing. Children cried, elderly cried. War veterans who fought against Japan applauded Japanese pilot. Fujita hugged Mayor. 2 former enemies, now friends, returned to forest. Next day, Mayor drove Fujita to forest, to place where bombs fell 20 years ago. They drove dirt road, through mountains, through forest, stopped at clearing. Here's where first bomb fell, Mayor said. Fujita exited car, looked at forest. Trees grew tall, green, healthy, no trace of fire, no trace of destruction. Where's crater? Fujita asked. There, but forest overgrew. Nature healed wound. Fujita approached spot, knelt, touched ground. I dropped bomb here, tried to destroy this forest, but forest survived, forest forgave. Mayor placed hand on Fujita's shoulder. Not only forest forgave, we all forgave, Fujita cried. 20 years of guilt washing away. Here, in this forest, where he tried to create hell, now was paradise. Epilogue. 5 returns, 1962. First visit, forgiveness. Sword remained in Brookings, first in City Hall, later in library, displayed in glass case. Plaque explains, 400-year-old samurai sword, gifted by Nobuo Fujita, only person to bomb continental United States in World War II. Gift as sign of peace and friendship, 1962. 1985, Fujita invited 3 students from Brookings Harbor High School to Japan, showed them his country, his culture. President Ronald Reagan sent letter to Fujita with admiration for kindness and generosity. 1990, Fujita returned to Brookings. Third visit, met old friends, new friends, children from 1962, now adults, with their own children. 1992, fourth visit, Fujita was 81. He returned to forest, to place where bombs fell 50 years ago. Brought sapling, planted tree, symbolic act. Destruction becomes creation. War becomes peace. He said, 50 years ago, I tried to burn this forest. Today, I plant tree. I cannot change past, but I can help grow future. 1995, fifth and final visit. Fujita moved his sword from City Hall to new library. Wanted more people to see it, more people to know story. September 30th, 1997, Nobuo Fujita died in Japan. 85 years. Peaceful death, surrounded by family. City of Brookings declared mourning. Flags lowered. Mayor spoke. We lost friend. Man who showed forgiveness is possible, that enemies can become friends. October 1998, Fujita's daughter, Yoriko Asakura, came to Brookings, brought urn with father's ashes. City organized ceremony. They went to forest, to tree Fujita planted in 1992. Tree had grown, tall, strong, green. Yoriko scattered father's ashes at tree's roots, said, Father wanted to be here, wanted to remain in place where he found forgiveness, where he found peace. The irony man who tried to burn American forest, now forever part of that forest. His ashes feed tree he planted. Tree grows from ashes of his guilt, from forgiveness he received. Sword he brought for death became symbol of life. Hangs in library. Children look at it, ask, why Japanese sword here? Librarians tell story about pilot, about bombs, about guilt, about forgiveness, about how enemies became friends. Some children don't believe. Is this true? Japanese bombed America? Yes, only time in history. And Americans forgave him? Yes, invited him as friend, gave him citizenship, showed that forgiveness is stronger than revenge. Children look at sword, old, beautiful, deadly, but now peaceful. This is lesson Fujita left world. Past cannot be changed, but future can be built. Enemies need not remain enemies. Guilt can be atoned. Forgiveness is possible. If Americans can forgive man who bombed their city, then anyone can forgive anything. If Japanese pilot and American city can become friends, then any enemies can find peace. Sword hangs in library, quiet, still, but eloquent, tells story without words, story that peace is stronger than war, friendship stronger than hatred, forgiveness stronger than revenge. Tree grows in forest, tall, strong, alive. Plaque reads, Peace tree planted by Nobuo Fujita, 1992, in memory of forgiveness and friendship between former enemies. Tourists come, photograph with tree, with plaque, with sword in library, learn story, Most didn't know Japan bombed America, didn't know about Fujita, didn't know about forgiveness story. Now they know, and pass story forward to their children, their friends, their families. Story lives, because lesson is important, more important than ever, in world full of conflicts, full of hatred, full of wars. Fujita's story shows there's another way, way of forgiveness, way of friendship, way of peace. One man, two bombs, 20 years of guilt, one sword, one forgiveness, one friendship. That's entire story. Story of how enemy became friend, how guilt became redemption, how sword of death became symbol of peace. Story of Nobuo Fujita, only person to bomb America twice, and person America accepted as friend.